Hi, so straight off the bat, the title of this video is controversial, but it's not entirely misleading. What I'm going to do in this video is explain some realities of the knowledge as it currently stands. I'm going to tell you where most people go wrong and explain why doing the knowledge based on your own decided timeline is a bad thing. And I'm hopefully going to motivate you to complete the knowledge quicker than if you hadn't watched this video. So let's get straight to the point. Can the knowledge be done in 18 months? The short answer is yes. But that raises another question. Is anybody doing it in 18 months? And the short answer to that is no, they're not. So what I want to do is explain to you why it is important to try to do it in 18 months and tell you why nobody's actually doing it in 18 months. But first, let me explain how it's possible. There is a clear schedule to complete the knowledge in 18 to 19 months, and it's this. Do 16 runs a week. That takes 20 weeks to complete 320 runs. Do 150 to 250 points per week once the runs are completed. Begin to do point to point at the same time, or ideally, whilst you're completing the runs in Module 3 and 4. Put your paper in for the exam when you have done 600 to 1,000 points and get onto appearances within 30 weeks of starting. Now, all of that aspect of the knowledge is in your control, the whole part of it. All of that can be achieved by you even if you're part-time. The next part of completing the knowledge in 18 months is not entirely in your control, regardless of your skill level. You should quite easily pass the written exam, which is the entry ticket set up by TfL to adjudicate whether or not you are at the standard to start oral appearances. Once you start the oral appearances, if you score 3 points or a C each time, which is 12 straight Cs required to get your requisition, that will take 360 days of oral appearances. There will be 3 times 56-day intervals between testing, 4 times 28-day intervals between testing, and 4 times 21 days between testing, which is a total of 360 days. Now, before you all start writing in the comments that you have 4 times 56-day intervals and Dean has miscalculated, I'm afraid you would be wrong. There are only 3 times 56-day intervals, as the very first 56 is not weighted for, so it's not counted as a 56-day interval. So depending on how quick you get on appearances between your 25th and 30th week, you would have completed the knowledge in 18 to 19 months, not including your final suburban test, which is running at just a few weeks at the moment, if you can score straight Cs. Scoring straight Cs is not unheard of and is in fact quite common. What is not common is that not many people work at a pace of 16 runs a week anymore, which was very much a standard target to achieve. Now, the way I look at this is that it's better to sacrifice all the spare time and outside pleasures and spend my next 20 weeks doing 16 runs a week and learning them fully, rather than being half in, half out and taking 2, 3 or 4 times longer to complete the same task. Why then is no one doing it in 18 to 19 months? There are quite a substantial amount of people completing the Blue Book runs in 2 years or more, and this for me is just too uninspirational. The testing part aside, the absolute main reason people take too long to do the knowledge is you are taking too long to achieve stage 1 of the knowledge. You must not have the attitude that you will do the knowledge at your own pace. This is a disastrous decision. And the reason for it is simple. First, when you start the knowledge, you have the best energy available to you to get ahead quickly. You quite simply need 3 things. The first 80 runs, a warm-up and transport. Then no excuses. Set a target of 16 runs a week and learn them to the standards shown in this video link on screen now. Now, obviously, not everyone may be able to make these targets, but the important issue is to aim and aspire to them. Because the phrase is a common one, aim for the stars and you will at least reach the moon. Along with that, it is important to understand the target at hand. Don't think beyond that target. First, complete 1 run. Second, complete 4 runs in a day. Third target, complete 16 runs in a week. And the fourth target, finish a blue book in 5 weeks. Always stay focused on the target or job at hand. Don't get ahead of yourself. I often hear people say they will get on 56s and then maybe give up work and go full time. And this is another big mistake. The hardest part of knowledge is the accumulated standard required at the beginning. Maintaining the standard can be somewhat boring, but is substantially less consuming than the start of the knowledge, stages 1, 2, and 3. So if at any stage you're going to be full-time, it should be at the very beginning. On average, you will be on appearances for 1 to 2 years. Too many of you think you are supposed to be the completed knowledge student before you start testing. So you wait and you wait until you reach a time where you think you might be ready. TFL has its own marker to say when you are ready. It's the written test. It is the gateway put in place by them to decide, are you good enough to start oral appearances? You are never going to feel ready. You are always going to feel like you need to know more, practice more, look at one more point, check one more turning, or ask one more question. Whereas the truth is, you are just wasting time. Your time. Don't worry about the examiner's time. They are just doing a job. And your job right now is to be on appearances. It's a little like saying you have to be in it to win it, because if you're not on appearances, you are nowhere. So one of the things you often hear implied to this is, what if I put in too early? There is no such thing as too early. It makes no sense. If you pass the exam by TFL's own testing strategy, you are ready. Now the next thing I hear is someone who scored straight Ds, 4 Ds. They say they put in too early. Well, where would they be if they hadn't taken that written exam and passed? They would still be sitting at home wondering when they will be ready. And who's to say, after all that waiting, that once they start appearances, they will still score 4 straight Ds? Because quite simply, if you are rubbish now, there is still quite a high likelihood you will be rubbish then. And also, taking these oral exams is very taxing and a skill in itself you need to learn to combat. The best solution for this is experience. So even if you score straight Ds, you have garnered plenty of information about the skill, the technique, and the mental approach you are going to need to get past these tests. Plus, you are going to be even more aware if your current study regime is adequate or needs improving upon. Now, when we sit back and take a look at our lives and calculate how much free time we have, then you most likely will find that if you stopped watching television, stopped playing or watching your favorite sport, stopped all forms of hobbies and maybe neglect doing as much housework as normal, then you could focus and commit to a 20-week program of full concentration doing Blue Book runs. The huge benefit to this is the sacrifice is just 20 weeks, not 2 years, just 20 weeks. My first goal is a 1-week goal of 16 runs, then a 5-week goal of 80 runs, and then a 20-week goal of 320 runs. Once accomplished, you are going to most likely find that the knowledge is now under your skin, and that is the biggest thing you are trying to acquire. Because with that, you are going to finish the knowledge in 2 years at best and 3 years at worst. So please aim high. Work hard for the first year, set good, strong, realistic targets, and get the knowledge finished between 2 and 3 years. I also guarantee one of you will have the correct work pace and appearance luck and will finish in 18 months. So be inspired. It's a great job and the game isn't dead.